Because I was continually seeing results and there was nothing that felt bad about losing weight. It was only positive. So I felt that was a little bit easier. I mean, there was little bumps in the road, times where it was harder to stay on track but I think that's just very normal. And I think you have to get used to that.
Hey guys, my name is Jonathan Wiseman, and this is Deep Squats and Deeper Conversations. And today my guest is Samantha Yvonne. So at 20 years old, she found herself overweight, struggling with mental and physical health, all while raising kids alone. Most people give up at this point. She didn't. She lost over 200 pounds, never waiting for permission, and bought her kids a house at 30, while also breaking a world record in 2024. She's a PT, entrepreneur, and an overall rock star for her family. Do me a favor.
Sure.
Take me back to 20-year-old Samantha, and what was life actually like, and what were you dealing with?
I had struggled with obesity most of my life. So from when I was very young onward, I was extremely overweight. But what was kind of the catalyst to trying to lose weight for the millionth time, but was a bigger deal this time, was that I was pregnant with my first son, and the pregnancy was very difficult. I was really sick the whole time, and so I was on bed rest. And so on top of already being overweight, I had gained about 70 pounds and found myself over 300 pounds. And so once I gave birth, I was just feeling terrible, like physically, mentally. It was a lot of stuff going on, but I was really struggling. So there was no pivotal moment where I was like, I'm going to try to lose weight. Yeah, I was feeling really, really just not great mentally and physically. So I knew that I couldn't feel worse than I did, and I didn't really know what to do. I'd been to the doctors, they checked everything, they said I was fine physically. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try to work out. It wasn't even oh, I want to lose weight, or it was mostly I really don't know what to do, so surely this could help in some way. And yeah, I was not feeling great. I felt like my health was holding me back from being a good mom. I couldn't even walk 5 minutes on a treadmill when I started. It was really bad.
So was there a specific moment where something clicked for you, or was it more like a slow build?
Honestly, I wish I had a cooler story, but to be honest, the real origin story of my weight loss is kind of sad, to be honest. I mean, I was already feeling pretty bad about myself. And then, of course, my favorite thing was my son at the time. I was a new mom, so I was posting all the time on social media, everything we were doing, where we were going. And I was really excited because I was taking him to a specific restaurant for the first time, and I had posted about it. And a girl that's an acquaintance of mine had made a really rude post about it, saying oh, maybe would it be so big if you didn't eat all that food? It was something just very rude. And I didn't even know her well enough for her to be talking about me,
Especially online.
And so I wish it wasn't that, but that's truly what made me feel like I already felt bad. And that was kind of the thing that just pushed me you know what? Maybe I do need to do something different. And so I decided to go to Weight Watchers, actually, with my stepmom. That was the first step.
Yeah.
Wasn't a huge fan of Weight Watchers, but it definitely got me in the right mindset of tracking my food and making sure I was in a calorie deficit. It was a good kickstart, and then I just kind of went off on my own. And yeah, that's actually what got me started. So
I always say that, it doesn't really matter what gets you started or how you get started. It's just start.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm so grateful to that girl now. I mean, it's been amazing, right? So
a little bit of hatred goes a long way.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a fun story to tell people too. When my clients ask me and I can say, hey, you don't have to think I'm going to lose 200 pounds or, it could just be someone being mean to you. And I have a client right now actually like that who had a guy make a comment to her oh, you really need to get in the gym. And she's 40 pounds down now and feeling amazing. And she's I don't even think about him. I just feel so good.
The best form of success is revenge.
Yeah, it actually is.
It's
100%.
Prove them wrong, you know, and there's nothing better than just showing the world that you are capable and what they thought of you was wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a powerful motivator and probably one that drives a lot of my actions as well. So I can understand.
No, 100%.
Okay, awesome. So could you do me a favor and in a few minutes, go through a little bit more detail about how you lost 200 pounds? How long did that take? What did that process look like Like, where were some of the most biggest challenges for you?
Yeah.
Like, I want the real version of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it definitely wasn't easy. And like I mentioned, there was no like moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose so much weight. In fact, I was pretty pessimistic as I had been overweight my whole like life, especially as a teenage girl being overweight. That was so challenging. And I mean, I didn't even know if it was possible to lose weight. I, in all reality, didn't think I could be like fit or
Most people
slim.
don't think it's
Yeah,
possible.
like I just, I just didn't think for me it was a thing because I thought, well, it must be genetics. I mean, I've been overweight since I was like 6 years old.
Yeah.
So I just didn't think it was possible. And so it was not easy. Like I mentioned, starting with nutrition was really good for me because it like really got me in the right mindset right away.
Yeah.
Working out came a little later on. But it was tough. So how I actually started was I kind of started with the diet. And after a couple of weeks, I thought, okay, I should probably start exercising. But I had done the whole get a gym membership, fall off track, cancel it. I didn't want to do that again. So I was like, you know what? I'll get like a cheap treadmill. I'll do that for 3 months. If I stick to it for 3 months, I'll get a gym membership. So I went on Kijiji. I found a $50 treadmill.
Yeah.
I brought that like big old treadmill down into my basement apartment.
Yep.
I started walking on it. And when I first started, I was pretty disappointed. I couldn't do more than 5 minutes. And that was so challenging for me.
Yeah.
So I was feeling good from the like little bit of weight I had lost, but that made me feel pretty bad. But
It's a reality check.
yeah, exactly. So I still was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
And I had this like ritual. I would put on Grease, the movie Grease, and I would just walk on my treadmill. And I went from like 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 15 minutes. And eventually I was doing an hour. And then 3 months passed and I joined the gym that I still work at now.
Yeah.
So, and that was, I mean, even then when I started at the gym, I didn't know anything. Like I had been in a gym before, but like to walk on the treadmill or like nothing else. I was super new. I was like, just like any other brand new person at the gym. I didn't know how to use a single piece of equipment. So yeah, that's how it really started. And then I got pregnant. Like I had lost like 40 pounds. I was doing so good. Everything was going so well. And then I got pregnant again.
Yep.
And so I think most people would be like, you know what? I'm pregnant. I guess like that's it. Like done deal.
Yeah.
It was the opposite for me. I was like, no, like, maybe I don't have to focus so much on the weight loss, but I really want to keep going. Like I don't want this to be a repeat of my last pregnancy. I want to feel good. I want to have a good pregnancy. And one of my like biggest goals was I had a C-section with my first son and my recovery was just horrible. So I really wanted to have a natural birth, which almost everyone told me like, that's not a thing. Like no one will let you do that.
Yeah.
And when I went to go see my OB, she was like a little reluctant, but after I did my weigh-in, we did our check-in. We hadn't seen each other in obviously a long time. So she was kind of like, you know what? You've lost so much weight. You're doing so well. Let's try. We can try. I don't mind. If something goes wrong, C-section. And I was like, absolutely no problem. That sounds great. And I was actually able to have a super healthy pregnancy, natural delivery. Like everything went so well. It was literally night and day.
Yeah.
100%. The only difference, I was working out. I was like about 40 pounds down. I was eating healthy-ish other than the other like weird cravings. And yeah, like that was a huge part of my weight loss. I wasn't necessarily losing weight for that like 12-ish months or so, the 9 months I was pregnant and about 3 months after. And yeah, getting back on track wasn't really easy, especially like I just had a baby, life is crazy. But at that time, the gym had a daycare. So like from 6 weeks old, I brought my kids over to the daycare. They loved that place. They had some great staff there that would watch my kids. I would work out for an hour. I would like 4 or 5 days a week. I was going like very consistently. I really just like kind of full force went right back into it and just kept going. And I mean, there was times that were really tough, but I feel that once you kind of get what works for you, like you know what foods you like that are healthy, you know how to be like in a calorie deficit, you're working out. I started with only doing cardio because I didn't know anything else. So there was kind of this evolution of like learning what actually was more effective, which took me a long time because I would kind of like was doing it on my own for the longest time. And I really did need help because I didn't know how to work out properly. But once I started to work out properly, like what I mean by that is like resistance training. I was like, instead of doing 100% cardio, I was doing like 80% resistance training and a little bit of cardio here and there. Yeah, like I started to grow muscle. Like I remember, like I have this picture of me and I'm still quite overweight. I'm not like super fit or anything, but like I'm quite big and you just see my little like baby
Yeah.
bicep. And I was just so proud of that. Like I was so excited that I could see my arm muscle because I feel like my arms were always like my least favorite part of my body. So being able to see that like definition, and I see that in clients now too, it's just so exciting. You're
Yeah.
so excited about it.
That's great. And I think one of the things that you just said that kind of reminds me of, so many of our clients' journeys and so many of even my journey that I went through. It's like, you don't have to start perfectly. It's really like find the low hanging fruit
Yeah.
and execute on something that you're probably going to be able to execute on daily.
Yeah.
It's not going to overwhelm you
100%.
because you just got to get some momentum going,
Yeah.
right? And if the first thing you do is choose the hardest possible thing to hit,
Yes.
then failure is probably going to happen, right?
Absolutely.
So you were really smart in maybe not even choosing to do it that way, but strategically you just happened to fall into that
Yes.
area, and that probably one of the main reasons why you stuck to it long enough.
Yeah.
And you allowed yourself to evolve and to kind of take one step after the other and get there, which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely evolution for sure, especially with like how I trained, like because it was from like, my 30 minutes on the elliptical
Cardio
to
bunny,
like,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's just all I knew. And I mean, we see that in the gym all the time.
Yeah, for sure. So 200 pounds lost.
Yeah.
Honestly, most people can't fathom that.
Yeah.
Right. It's a big number. So how long did that take?
It was, I always tell people it was like if we're totaling it all together, including the pregnancy, it was 3 years.
Yeah.
But considering for that like 12 months, I think definitely working out, keeping the momentum going helped a lot, but I didn't lose much weight during that year or so. So if we're talking about like actively trying to lose weight, it was about 2 years. But if we count that 1 year with the pregnancy, it was 3 years.
Okay. So minus the pregnancy, probably a solid 2 years, 100 pounds a year. That's pretty solid.
I mean, I feel like I was just like, I got to do this. I want to do this. And like when I started to see results, it was like there was no turning back.
Yeah. And honestly, once you've accomplished that goal, sometimes it takes a little bit of time for it to set in.
Oh, absolutely.
To become that person that you've become.
100%.
Right? Like you're still kind of the version of yourself that thought it was impossible.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're like, am I actually here?
I still sometimes feel like that now, honestly.
Yeah. But then you're like, yeah, this is me now.
Yeah, no, it's fun to like reflect and be like, oh my God. And I feel like something I say a lot and I still believe so much is that weight loss, like, and the whole process of weight loss, and I was so young and like sheltered, and I feel like I just didn't, I was a stay-at-home mom for so many years, and like I just feel like weight loss prepared me in so many ways for so many other things that I ended up being like really good at, from like being good with like saving money or building my business, or like it just taught me so many lessons. And I felt like anytime I hit like a roadblock or something that felt really hard, I thought, well, I lost 200 pounds. Like I can do this. I got this.
Yeah. And like, honestly, you're not losing 200 pounds tomorrow. You lost it over 2 to 3 years.
Exactly.
So it allows you to break it down and go, on average, it was actually small changes.
Yeah, 100%. I found this like ripped piece of paper from back then where I used to track my my weight, because like I'm not like super organized when it comes to paper and stuff. So I just have this ripped piece of paper where it had all the dates on it of all my weigh-ins. And you just see week by week, like 1/3 of a pound down, 1/2 pound down, 1 pound down. Sometimes it even went up. But it was like really cool to like be able to find that paper and be like, okay, like sometimes you forget those little things.
Yeah. I always say you have to track.
Yeah.
It's really hard to know if you're heading in the right direction if you don't
100%.
have a way of seeing where you're at. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just cool to look back on. I always tell my clients when, do we have to do these measurements? Do we have to do these photos? And I'm always telling them, like, you'll be so glad you did. Like, please, like, just trust me. You're going to be so glad. They hate the mugshot, all of that, like in the beginning. But I'm like, trust me, like, just think about where you're going to be. Don't think about where you're at. This is like our starting point, right? So it's okay if it's not perfect. It's where you're going to be. And you're going to be so glad you have this to like reflect on and measure your progress. It's so necessary.
Do you think that people get nervous about taking measurements or progress photos because they don't believe that they're going to change? Or do you think it's because leading up to that assessment, they haven't done what they were supposed to do, and so they're feeling guilty about it?
I think it depends on the person. I think initially it's usually just like shame. They're feeling really bad about like how kind of bad the situation's gotten, and like some people really believe it. They're like, I'm gonna do this, doesn't matter. And then other people are kind of more skeptical. But like even just to like step foot in the gym, meet with a trainer, that's really daunting. So most people are like really ready to make a change. So I think most people, it's more just like they don't like taking pictures. They don't like all that. Like they're kind of like, ugh. But it really depends on the person.
So going back to what you've accomplished, can you tell me like what was the hardest part that nobody would talk about? Like no one knows about the struggle and the challenge behind what you went through.
I think I think one of the hardest parts was just being a mom, and I think just life, just life. Like, while you're trying to achieve this like huge goal, it sometimes doesn't feel like a huge goal because like you said, like it's like the things you do every single day accumulatively helping you get to this big overall goal. So it doesn't necessarily like while you're going through it, doesn't feel like I'm achieving this huge goal. Like, and so life is still happening in the background. So I had so many changes. I mean, it was 3 years, right? And it was a like crazy 3 years. A lot of stuff happened. I separated from my kid's dad. I moved multiple times. I started on my own for the first time, which was like a lot. It was just a lot of like personal challenges and life changes. And I think like I see clients nowadays too, they go through those things all the time. And sometimes like the littlest thing can knock them off. And so I think that was definitely the hardest part, is just facing so many personal challenges and changes along the way. I think the luxury is most of the clients that we work with, they are pretty consistent. Like their lives aren't super chaotic. There's not like all these crazy things going on like there was for me. So I think for me, that was the hardest thing. And then also on top of it, like I didn't just magically become overweight. Like most people in my family don't eat very healthy. They don't value exercise. They don't work out. So that was really tough. Because it's like everyone's kind of doing their own thing and everyone's like, this is the way, right? And I'm just going, no, I'm not good. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be like this anymore. I really want to change. And I think even when it came to like building my business and kind of the intensity that I went at that with, I think along the way, a lot of people are like, you're doing too much. You're going too hard. Like, this is too much. And you just have to like, there's so many moments where that's so hard because you feel like everyone around you is kind of like, you're going too hard. You're doing too much. You should slow down. You should chill out. And you have to like just be so like sure and like I know what I'm doing is gonna get me where I want to be. And so sometimes it's really hard to like quiet those voices and just say, okay, they can say whatever they want to say. Half the people don't matter anyway. Like they don't even know what's going on in my life. And I think one thing a really important life lesson I learned along the way, like in my mid to early 20s, was that like like a lot of people would say things about me, about my separation, about my weight loss, about my business, about whatever, right? And I think a lot of people can relate to this. And it's just like they don't even know. And so sometimes you feel this like need to want to like tell everybody like, no, that's not the truth. This isn't what it is. But I think you come to the realization as you mature that even if they know the truth, they don't actually care about the truth. They just want to talk, right? People just want to, gossip and drama. So I think just ignoring those voices, ignoring the doubters, like staying focused, knowing what's right for you. And it's okay sometimes if it bothers you. I mean, we're human, but I think just still staying focused through life's challenges, through the doubts, through whatever, just knowing what's right for you and just going for it.
Yeah. And you know what? I think, especially in my life, I've definitely had my share of people who had an opinion on whether or not I was heading down the right road, or if I was
Yeah.
putting in too much work, or why am I going so hard? And I feel like a lot of that just is their own projection of an insecurity of, if you achieve this, what does that say about me
Yeah,
and the fact that
definitely.
I did not achieve my goal, right? So
100%.
that's how I look at it. It's like when someone has an opinion about someone else's success, it's usually their insecurity of a lack of their own.
100%.
And those aren't the people's opinions that really matter, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. So I learned that at a pretty young age, which was good. It helped me. It helped me a lot.
That's good. It's a good lesson to learn.
Yes, absolutely.
So throughout this journey for you, did you ever quit or seriously want to? And if so, what brought you back into that flow for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So many times. I think with the weight loss, because I was continually seeing results And there was nothing that felt bad about losing weight. It was only positive. So I felt that was a little bit easier. I mean, there was little bumps in the road, times where it was harder to stay on track, but I think that's just very normal. And I think you have to get used to that. But I feel like when it came to starting my personal training business, I still was very green. Like I didn't really know that much when I first started. And my first about like 2 years or so in the industry were like really, really slow. And I was at a slower gym. I had to work so hard and I felt like I was there all the time. And it was really challenging. Like there were so many moments. Like I remember when they announced that they were actually going to close that gym, I was like this close to quitting, like so close. Like I feel like I had so many people like this isn't the right thing, you tried, it's not working out. Luckily I was doing group fitness at the time too, and that was going really well. So that's what kind of kept me there. So that's when they announced the closure, and that was really the push of like, okay, you know what? Let me see how this goes. I'll give it a chance. This is going to be a totally different environment, different management, different everything, something new, like this is important to me. I love doing it. Let's just see what happens. And so there was many moments. I think most people who've been in the fitness industry, who are even in the fitness industry, can relate to that, because honestly, it's like any other career, like real estate or anything like that, where you're kind of doing your own thing. The first couple of years are tough, and they were really tough. And so I had many moments I thought about giving up, but I'm glad I didn't, because it was a quick turnaround. When I went to the new gym, had a new manager, new environment. And honestly, like in some ways, it's almost like I felt like I belonged there all along, because that was the original gym that I actually started at when I started my weight loss. But then maybe not, because if I didn't have that 2 first years of struggle, like that taught me to like really go hard and like fight for every lead and work really hard. So I think in a way it actually helped me in so many ways to be able to be successful later on.
Do you think your journey gave you almost like a marketing skill or a marketing tool that you can use to attract clients that a lot of other coaches didn't have access to?
Yeah, in some ways, I think, it can help a lot, like people's interest. But I think from there, it really is more about you. Like they can tell, like people are smart. They can tell if you know your stuff. They can tell if you're good at what you do. So I feel like that might get them interested in you, but you really have to practice. You have to educate yourself. You have to like really put in the time to get to know how to be good with people, how to get people to trust you, because like working with a personal trainer is scary for a lot of people, right? Like they're really trusting you to help them get to their goal. So I think even though that might spark their interest and get them kind of like interested in you, which is definitely helpful, I think you still have to practice your skills. You have to get good at working with people. I think when I first started, since I had been a stay-at-home mom, I wasn't the best at that, but I definitely got better over time. That 2 years and group fitness helped me with that too. Like just being out there, talking to people, like that really helped me a lot.
Amazing. Okay, awesome. So, a lot of people watching this, they've tried and failed multiple times. So what would you say to those people right now?
I would say like one of the things that, I mean, I have a lot of like, to be honest, cheesy quotes that I like to say and
Let's
use.
hear them. Let's hear them.
And one of them is if you don't give up, you can't fail. And like that's something that like I know it sounds cliche, but it's something that I thought about all the time when I was trying to get to my goal. One thing I've learned even in recent times is sometimes even now I'll develop bad habits. I'll be like, going to Tim Hortons or whatever it is, eating things I shouldn't be eating that like are not nutritional. And whenever I'm trying to break a bad habit, even now, it usually takes me like 5 or 6 tries before it actually sticks. So I think sometimes people really like give up prematurely, and the reality is they haven't given 100%. And so unless you feel like you've given your 100% all, and like sometimes it's okay to take a break too. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'm not in the right headspace. I can't give 100%. I'm just not there right now. And that's okay. Give yourself a second and just go back into it, because it's just one of those things. Like I tell people all the time, in all of the ways I thought losing weight would affect my life and better my life, it's more like it's every facet of your life is affected. And I think as I've gotten older and as I've like kind of matured in my career, it's become so much more than how you look and how you feel, although that is super important. It's literally like how you age, how you live. I think people my age, they still don't think about those things. They wait till it's too late. And it's so much easier to be proactive and just make those changes now than to wait. It's like devastating if you wait. Some of the things I've seen, like, you know, like 30-year-olds with liver disease, it's like their lives are completely affected by this.
It's wild. I agree. And it's unfortunate that people wait so long to get started. And, you know, some people say it's never too late. I'm like, I disagree.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is too late.
It is too late. I mean, I've seen it and it's terrible. Like my fiance, he always says like, it's just a job. Like, it's just a job because like, I just get so, I think because of my own personal journey, like I just care so much. And I'm like, but like, they just have to like give a little bit more effort. Like you know, you see like they're going to fall off in a way that it's unlikely they're going to get back up. And it's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah. You know, like for any good coach, it's a calling, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a job, because if it were just a job, we probably wouldn't be very good at it.
It's true.
It's really freaking hard.
It is.
And so in order for you to enjoy it and find parts of it that you are super passionate about, it really has to be something that speaks to you.
It's true. It's
Otherwise,
true.
What's the point? It's just,
absolutely,
you know, you're mentoring and coaching people through some of the hardest parts of their life, right?
Absolutely.
And so I agree. It's like, it really is a calling. And for coaches who feel that way, those are generally the coaches that end up being great at what they do. So yeah, I think you and I are on the same page with that. So now what I want to kind of focus on is I want to talk a little bit more about your business, because you kind of touched a little bit on that. It's kind of like brought some ideas to my head.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about how you went from building a business from zero, including, you know, a decision you made during the pandemic that most people would never have the guts to do.
Yeah.
And really break that down a little bit.
Sure.
Okay. So early in your career, you never really said no.
Yeah.
You took group training classes, you did charity classes, you worked with adults with mental disabilities.
Yeah.
Was that a strategy, or were you just trying to figure out what worked?
I just even like, and I still do this to this day, even like when it came to coming on the podcast, right? I just feel like there's so many times in my career that someone was like, hey, we would love to have you for this. And it's like something I've never really done before. And I'm feeling like kind of apprehensive. But I think because there's been so many moments like that throughout my career where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. And I never regretted it.
Yeah.
So like, I think you can learn so much. And in a lot of cases, nobody expects you to be perfect. I want to say 9 times out of 10, but honestly 10 times out of 10, you're going to have more knowledge than the person who's like, hey, can you help me with this? Mm-hmm. So I think it's really important actually, because like you get to meet so many people. Like I've had so many cool experiences from doing it. And yeah, like I think it's like you have a little apprehension at first, but it's like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. Like, why not? And yeah, it's been a lot of fun, like doing all those things. Like
It's interesting because obviously as a business owner myself, I feel like when people get to a certain point, there's almost power in saying no.
Yeah.
Right. And I agree, especially when I was really in the process of building, opportunities that would come to my table, I would always want to jump on, right? Because I was like, what could this be? Or what could I learn from this? Or could there be any value in collaborating with this person? And then you get to a point, and this is my thought process, that when you say no to something, you're actually saying yes to something more important.
Yeah,
right?
True.
And so I want to ask you, what in your business do you think allows you to have the greatest impact, allow you to give the most value and service to your clients, and also gives you the greatest ROI for your time?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And you know what? I feel like when I was saying yes to pretty much almost everything, it was always like, I feel like in some ways, like you almost feel like it's meant to be, because like things kind of come at you during the times where it's like, okay, I can say yes to this. And there has been moments where it's like, okay, this isn't working out. And I'm lucky that it just kind of phased out naturally. Thankfully, I've never had to like be like, I know I agreed to this, but I can't do that, because I would hate to do that. But yeah, like it just kind of worked out. And I think one of the reasons why it was always like, yes, 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 was I was still kind of figuring it out in a way because there was so many like ups and downs. It wasn't just one straight, I was doing so well for the first time in my career. A couple months into that, the pandemic happened. And so like a lot of these opportunities kind of came to me during times where I was like, oh, I don't really know what I'm going to do next.
Yep.
And so like it's really been the last, I would say like 3 years that I've kind of like my schedule set. I don't really have time for anything else.
Yeah.
I can't really open up to much other things. So yeah, that is true. Like you get to a point where you don't have the luxury of saying yes to everything. Like unfortunately, even if you really want to do it. And that can be tough because like I tend to like want to like try different things and try new things, but it can be really challenging. Like especially like our schedules can be really, really crazy, right? But I think when it comes to delivering like the best service to clients, that keeps them coming back for years and years and years, it's just like meeting them on their level. I think there's times where maybe, your life is disrupted or your schedule is thrown off, or I think just trying to put yourself in their shoes and always like speaking to them on their level, remembering, yeah, I know, this client has missed 2 workouts or something like that. Like, let's get them back on track without making them feel super guilty because they got 2 toddlers. They're doing everything on their own. So I think, yeah, just really trying to put yourself in their shoes. Like, even when you feel frustrated, even when, especially when you're training so many clients, like when you have like a high level trainer, you're sometimes seeing like 12, 13, 14 people a day. And it can be so tough scheduling and like holding
You
people
don't have the
accountable.
availability to be flexible.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, you learn pretty quickly when you get to that level that if you try to make up sessions, you have no free time. And so you learn really quickly how to hold people accountable. I always tell people you're kind of like a psychologist too. Like even the way you kind of get people to commit and get in for their workout, you find the little tricks of like getting people to be like, oh, okay, I really should do it. Okay, I'm going to come.
Sometimes it's just saying, no, you're coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
exactly.
a lot of coaches, they'll literally get a text the night before saying,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not feeling well. I've got a headache or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And you don't just say, okay, when's another time you can come in?
Yeah.
You say, hey, just like last time, when you came in feeling this way, you left feeling better.
Yeah, 100%.
We will go lighter. We won't go as intense. I'll see you at this time. And most of the time they say, okay, I'll see you.
100%. Who wants to be like, oh no, I don't, man, my head hurts. Like
they just need you to resist that urge that they have
yes.
because it's not truly what they want, but
100%.
those bad habits are still there. So they're kind of, when they're not feeling well, they kind of lean on that foundation of the bad habits because it's still the structure of how they
100%.
think, right? And so your job as a good coach is to pretty much block that and say, no, listen, and even to elaborate on that, I always tell coaches that our job is to overcome people's bullshit.
Yeah,
our job is to overcome the limiting beliefs they have, the stories that they tell themselves. And you can only do that if you show them that you're not going to say, sure, that's fine, every time that they're struggling with something.
100%.
And when you start to give into that and you allow them to start to fail, they start to lose faith in your ability to lead them to the result.
Absolutely.
Right. And so you need to show up and be that hard line that says, no, that's not how this is. Even when you're not feeling it, you're coming in.
Yeah,
we're going to do the work because that's what's going to get you there.
100%. And I think sometimes people they'll just come in to avoid the trainer lecture. They're like, oh, like I don't want to hear it.
Which is a win in my life.
Yeah. And I think one of the luxuries of being like so busy and having such a full schedule, your clients kind of get to know that. And so they kind of recognize
they respect it.
Yeah, if I don't come in for this workout, she probably doesn't have another spot for me. So you know what? And it's really, they start to get conditioned. And you're right. Like if you let them kind of start to fail, they're going to slide off real quick and they're going to lose faith in you versus if you're showing up. And like one of my clients once said to me, she said, Sam, we've been training together for like 5 years. And almost every day I wake up thinking, I really hope she cancels today. But I've learned you're never going to cancel. You're never going to cancel.
Yep.
I was like, I'll be here. We're doing the workout.
Every single day. And one thing you were saying that really resonates with me is being able to meet the client where they're at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I've always said that, a good way of looking at things is you can be structured. You can have you can even be like rigid in your structure as a coach. There's nothing wrong with that. But one of the most flexible structures out there is an elevator shaft.
Yeah.
The elevator still moves through different levels. So you can still have one of the strongest components of a building in place, but the coach can still meet you at ground one.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And then as you're ready, you can go 2, 3, 4, all the way to the penthouse.
Yep.
Right. And it's in that structure that all those tools and factors and variables that change someone's life exist. But the coach's capacity to press the right button at the right time is the key.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I completely agree with you. So the pandemic hits,
Yeah,
right?
tough times.
Obviously, we could have all lost everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Many did.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Instead, you went fully virtual.
Yeah.
So how fast did you have to adapt? Like, how quick of a decision did you have to make? And was it a calculated bet, or was it more so just like my instincts telling me to move fast on this?
Yeah, I feel like I always say to people, I wish I could be like, I'm just such a savvy businesswoman and I just like figured it all out. But it kind of just like, it came from the care for the clients, really. Like that's how it just naturally came about, for the care for my clients. And what I mean by that is, when it first hit, I think we all expected, oh, maybe it'll be a week, 2 weeks off,
Yeah.
we'll be back.
2-week vacation.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're like, you know what? I mean, I'm worried, I'm scared. I mean, at that time, I was only a couple months into being on my own, and I took the first apartment I could find. My rent was like $2,700 a month. I was freaking out. So, yeah, it was a very stressful time. But like initially, we all thought, okay, like it's fine. Couple weeks, we'll be back in. And that obviously isn't what happened. It was about 3 months until the gyms reopened. And coming back in with all my clients and seeing them basically back to baseline where they were really struggling. I wouldn't say it's like back to ground zero, but still, like even when a client has a week off, they're a little rusty when they get back. So 3 months was brutal. And most people were just sitting at home, baking cookies, So
When you say 3 months, where's the gym that you were working at?
It's in Mississauga.
3 months? It was a year and a half for us.
Yeah, I mean, it overall was, but they had this little tiny like gap there where they let us reopen and then they closed us back down shortly after. And because we had that 3-month little like period where we initially closed, so many people were so eager to get back to the gym. So it was busy. It was really busy. We had great management at the time at our gym. We're in a great spot in Mississauga. And so it was busy. Like business was booming. It was crazy. And honestly, one of the coolest things about being in the industry this long is like, because of the pandemic, seeing it change so much. And so at the time, it was a great time to be a trainer because a lot of people left the industry, even in that 3-month gap, because you're like kind of starting over every time the gym opens. So it was busy because people wanted to get in the gym. So seeing my clients struggling, and also the fact that I was signing up a lot of new clients, and a lot of them would say to me, listen, like, I really want to do this, but I'm scared they're going to close the gyms again. And honestly, I thought that's crazy. That will never happen. So I was like reassuring them, no, like that won't happen. Like it's done. They're going to let it like make us be careful, but they're going to let us stay open.
Oh, little did they know, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Obviously that's not what happened. So like the minute that they announced a second closure, I was like, okay, I got to do something. There's no way I'm just sitting here and watching my clients fall off track again. So it came from like less of a like, oh, I want to work and I want to make money, and more of like I don't want my clients falling off again. So I'm going to offer every single client a virtual training session. Not many people are keen on it because they never tried it. So they don't know how it could benefit them. So I offered every single client, and I thought, maybe a couple will want to do it. This will be great. It'll help me be able to like pay my crazy rent and keep me busy too, because like there was not much to do back then. And it just blew up. Like not only did people want to do it, they really wanted to do it. And I also offered like when it was safe to, in-home training and outdoor training as well when we were allowed to. And yeah, like people wanted it. Like I think it was multiple things. Of course, like people were just sitting at home, like working
100%.
And they were sick of sitting around. They wanted to exercise. They wanted to move their body. And then also a part of it that I think most people wouldn't expect is like at the time we were locked inside with just our immediate family. And I think people just wanted a connection to someone outside their household.
Yep.
And so some of my clients, I feel like that was actually more so the reason. Clients that maybe train 3 days a week, they wanted to train 4 or 5 days a week virtually. And it was just, I worked almost every single day of the pandemic. Like at the time, because, you know, everything was shut down, I moved to like a tiny basement apartment so that I didn't have to worry as much because things were like up in the air.
Yep, smart.
And I had this little tiny living space there. So it was like kitchen, bedroom, tiny living space. And it was just my little gym, like couple mats, couple weights, a tripod. And like I did all my work there in that little apartment, like with my kids. They were doing their online school. Like, and that was pretty much the whole pandemic for me, was just training people, training people, training people.
Yeah. I say like the next pandemic that's coming is the AI pandemic.
Yeah.
And that's going to dramatically impact every industry, right? And I say to people that something that you mentioned, connection, is something that I think people were really missing during the pandemic. And that's going to be another issue. And it's going to be a bigger one this time. And where people like us thrive, not just in the value that we can give to people, but the service we provide is human connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, in many cases, we are the most positive person in someone's life.
Yeah.
We are the most stable person as far as being the rock that the waves of their chaotic lives crash against. Like when someone's not feeling well, when someone's going through trauma, when someone's dealing with a lost family member, whatever it is, they're struggling with their job, they know that we're still there and we still are expecting them to show up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think that is something that plays to our advantage if we understand it. And that is something that a good coach should lead into, because when you do, you're going to survive the onslaught that is coming, that is AI.
Absolutely.
Everyone else who is just a check-in, check-out type, they're in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree.
So when did you feel like, okay, I've actually built something that's real and it's mine? When did that click for you?
I think it was like a process, just because I had so many like ups and downs of like, okay, this is hard. I'm kind of struggling. I'm struggling to get to full time. Like, in the beginning, the first like 2 years or so. And then after transferring, it was only like a 3-4 month period before I became a top performer, and then just maintained that and like just went up and up and up. And
what's a top performer?
Top performer, it just means like your top hours, top sales, you're within the top of the company.
Top 500, is that what they do?
I'm not sure.
I think that's what they used to call it when I used to.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, but like I think they condensed it a little now. It's like closer to like top 25 or top 50, I think it could be. So yeah, like for me, going from someone who like, I was like, I don't even know if this is viable, to like a top performer was like a really big deal for me, to like post pandemic, like sometimes working like
it's pretty bad.
160, 170, sometimes 200 hours.
Not easy to do.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think it was crazy for a lot of us. Like, we're lucky at our gym. We have a lot of top performers, actually, which is quite unusual. Typically, most gyms kind of have their...
That sets the culture, too, right?
Yeah,
so it makes everyone there that wants to live that way and be that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
They say the rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 100%. So we're lucky that we have so many good people at our club. And so I think, like, when it started going up, I kind of thought, like, I think sometimes like you don't always think like, oh, I'm so great and I'm doing so good. So at first I was a little apprehensive of like, oh, I better like take advantage of this like while it's here. And then as time went on and I realized like I'm not like, it's not slowing down, it's just picking up and picking up and picking up. So I think during the pandemic, like when I really like had this whole thing going and it was totally on my own, that like was really when I thought, okay, like this is mine. And like the fact that I was able to save so much money, and my driving factor through all of this was I wanted to buy a house for my kids. Like that was my goal from when I had kids. So even before my separation, before any of the big life changes, like before I even lost weight. So like this is like decade plus long goal. I wanted to buy a house. So I was just working and saving and working and saving and working and saving. And so that helped me so much, being able to work during that time rather than just wait it out, which a lot of people had to do. At the time, I was just so grateful to even have work because I know so many people in the fitness industry were really struggling at that time. So I was super grateful that I had made this pivot. It worked out like above and beyond anything I could have imagined. And putting in that work and that momentum meant that when the gyms reopened, like things just took off even more.
That's awesome.
So I think too, my manager, who was kind of like my mentor at the time, who really was like one of the main reasons that I was able to go from like struggling to like top performer. I think when she had a baby, so she took mat leave, she transferred to another club. And so after kind of those people who supported me into that upward trajectory were no longer around, but I was still, doing extremely well, that's when I realized, no, like it's me. Like they kind of helped shaped me to be able to sustain this myself.
But
And
now
like,
you have the tools.
yeah, exactly. Like it's not just a fluke. Like it is me. Like it's the work I put in. It's my relationship with my clients. It's the way that I like care about this so much, the way I'm putting like 100% into this. Because I mean, I was putting 100% in those first 2 years too, but it just wasn't paying off in the way I wanted it to. But at the same time, I also wasn't as good because I had just started.
Yep.
So I think that development and that time of struggle was actually really good for me. But it was really at that time, like post-pandemic, when I was under different management, like, and things were still great, that I went, okay, yeah, like this is because of me. Like it's,
100%. And having 100% focus on one thing is important, but having 100% focus on the right thing
yeah.
is really where the magic
Yeah,
happens. Right?
absolutely.
So you bought a house by yourself at 30
Yeah.
as a single mom. What did that moment actually feel like for you?
It's kind of crazy because at the time, like my schedule was so insane. Like I was working like 6 days a week from morning till night in the gym. I was like in grind mode. So I almost like, was working and saving, and this was like years long that I was like in this pattern, not going on vacation, not taking time off, not doing anything fun. I was maybe even a little too extreme with it, to be honest, but I like this goal was just so important to me. I didn't want to have to keep moving around with my kids. My kids are big kids too. We're in this tiny basement apartment. They're far outgrowing it. So like it's time. And so I think I was actually ready for that goal before, but I was so focused on my business that like, when am I supposed to go look at houses? When am I supposed to fill out the application? So luckily, I had been living with my fiance at the time, for like a little while at that point. So he's the one that was like, listen, let's just go look. Let's just go see. Like, I said, okay, you know what? Go ahead. You can fill out the application. Here's all the stuff. Go ahead. Let's just go see. And so when it finally happened, it was almost like I was so busy still like grinding that I didn't have that moment right away. It was more like taking my kids to see the house. That was a really cool moment, like on closing day. And so that was really cool getting to show them, they were happy too, but they're also kids. So they're not like, oh my God, like this is amazing. They're just kind of like, cool, I'm going to get my own room. This is cool. But I think it's been from the day we moved in, and even now, I still have so many moments where like I love my house so much, and it's like just even being in it is so exciting. Like last year, we took our like first vacation in like 9 years, and I was like, honestly, I'd be equally as happy just sitting in my house because that's how much I love it.
That's awesome. That's when you know your house is a home, not just a house.
100%. Like no, it wasn't like an easy path, like, looking at houses and getting to find our house. I mean, it didn't take a long time, but it just like there was some ups and downs in that process. But I feel like 100% we ended up in the right place, which wasn't easy because obviously I need to be close to the gym. At the same time, we didn't want to stay in the exact same area. So, but we found a place. It's like, it's super perfect for us. And thank God, because my oldest son is like 6 foot now. So like, imagine we were still in that little apartment. No, that was going to
You'd be
work.
bending over, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So do you feel like anyone doubted you, or do you feel like, did anyone not necessarily believe you would achieve the goals you've accomplished? And does that even matter to you now?
Absolutely, 100%. Like, I mean, it's actually really fun these days, like going to, like family gatherings or anywhere, running into people. I mean, it was fun from when I lost the weight because I mean, I lost 200 pounds. I would run into someone from high school and they'd be like, oh my God, right? And I'd be like, me too. Oh my God, I can't believe it either, right?
Yeah.
And so it was almost like this, like, I mean, it wasn't a quick succession of success. It was definitely like the weight loss. And I was like, okay, what do I do with this? I feel great. I want to help other people do this, but like, where do I start? I don't know. So, becoming a trainer, kind of figuring out, was that the right path? And I think sometimes when you tell people, especially like I was like 24 when I became a trainer, people have this idea that you're just like sitting at the gym all day, like not, I don't know, doing nothing. So like definitely I would get comments from people and stuff. And there was so honestly, I don't think anybody really expected. I mean, I think people want the best for you. I don't think people are like, oh, I hope you fail. But I think definitely they'll doubt you based on, your like past and like obviously growing up. I had a really rough upbringing. I had kids really young. So I think people don't expect much of you, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
at best, maybe you'll get an okayish job. You'll do all right. You'll be okay. I think people were impressed by my weight loss, but I think they thought, yeah, that was going to be it. I don't think they ever thought, oh, you're going to grow this huge business and you're going to be super successful and you're going to buy a house by yourself and you're going to be a world record holder. Like, I don't think anybody expected that. But it is fun, like going to family gatherings and stuff and like having all my family, especially like the more like uppity ones, be like, oh my God, like you're amazing. Or even my grandma, honestly, like you said, like the people who doubted, I don't care really much what they think. I don't think much about what they think. But like people who I really care about, like my grandma, my mom, my family, just getting to be so proud and excited for me, like those are really the people that I care about. And even my clients, like there's a lot of things that I've done through this process that I really did just because I thought my clients will find this cool. So why not?
That's cool. And it's funny because even people that you wouldn't necessarily expect to have doubts about what you're capable of.
Yeah.
Even the closest people.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
your family.
100%.
It's always nice to show them
Yeah.
what you're truly made of.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't realize what someone's capable of. And this is the case for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone is capable of more and significantly more.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're going to be able to achieve that, who knows?
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah, but in reality, we can all be doing 10 times, 100 times more.
I mean, I still feel like I feel like sometimes that's a struggle actually when you've like kind of like that's something that I feel like I struggle with a lot more now is where you've kind of set these goals and then like been able to achieve them like even above and beyond like what you were expecting or hoping for. Sometimes it's hard because you're kind of always like, okay, well, what's next? What's next? What's next? And you're always so like hard on yourself. So sometimes that can be a little bit of a struggle, but yeah, I think more people than not were definitely doubting me along the way. But I mean, it's not exciting because it's a lot of like, days and days and days of hard work to get to the point where
no one sees the
yeah, exactly. Nobody notices like, hey, they're doing great, like it's more like the big things where they'll be like, oh, wow, like I didn't know you were doing so well. And that's okay. I think, a lot of those, I had to go through a lot of like, I think grown-up problems at a very young age. And I think that taught me to just not care. Like, it doesn't matter.
The powerful realization again is that at the end of the day, no one really cares.
Yeah, it's true.
And the opinions of others definitely don't matter.
Yeah, yeah.
It's your life.
Yeah.
And you said something about how even now you struggle with always being in a mindset of, what's next? What's next?
Yeah,
what's next?
100%.
And I think that is actually a trait of someone who's more likely than not going to reach higher and higher levels of success than they even realize possible, because it's people like that struggle to feel like they've achieved their goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
And while it's frustrating, it's a superpower.
Yeah.
There comes a time in your life where you're going to want to be able to take a breath and be present and be aware of all the things you've accomplished, but it's probably a ways away.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. And to be honest, not everyone's built that way.
Yeah.
So take advantage of that because it gives you a massive advantage over most people. So can you walk me through the world record? Like, what was it?
Yeah.
How did you train for it? And when did you have the idea enter your head?
Sure. Yeah. So my world record, it's a Guinness World Record and it's for longest duration on the battle ropes. My record is 2 hours and 5 minutes. What kind of motivated me to do that was, it kind of just came together. It wasn't like I was like strategically like, what am I going to do next? But definitely like I had bought my house. I was still working a lot, like training long hours. But I kind of was like at that point, it was like maybe about a year and a half after I bought my house and I was feeling kind of like, all right, like my business is doing great. Everything's good. But like, I'm kind of bored now, like, and I really do love like athletic training and like, it's kind of like what I like to do in my workout routine. So I was already doing a lot of like threshold training and like circuit training. So one day I had seen on Instagram, there's this really successful bodybuilding coach, and he talks a lot about like discipline. And he posted this video of him doing the battle ropes, and he said, "Oh, I used to do this for an hour." And I thought, an hour? Like, I never heard of that. So I thought, I wonder how long I could do. And I did like 2 sets, the first day 5 minutes, the next day 15 minutes. And I was pretty satisfied with that. I was like, cool, I could do 15 minutes. And that was that. I mean, that was enough for me. And
Did your
then,
arms want to fall off?
I mean, a little bit, there is a bit of like a technique to it.
Okay.
But yeah, they definitely do. And I think it's actually more mental than physical at a certain point. But what actually got me thinking about like a world record was I kind of forgot about it for like almost a year. And then we had like a little fundraising thing where a guy came up and they were like raising money for the charity. Like, how long can you do on the battle ropes? If you win, you get money or something. And a guy was doing like he did like 3 minutes, and everybody was like circling him like, oh my God, wow. And I was like, oh, I guess this is kind of an unusual thing to be able to do it for a long time. So I thought, I wonder what the world record is. So I looked it up and it said 4 hours. And I was like, 4 hours? No, I'm not doing 4 hours. I just was like, 4 hours is crazy. That's like superhuman. But somehow a few days later, something told me to look it up again. So I did. And I realized that's actually the men's record, and the women's record is only 96 minutes. So I think that almost like happened in the perfect way, because 4 hours versus 96 minutes, I was like, sure, I could do 96
Oh, that's
minutes.
easier.
Yeah, I had such a false confidence. No. So I decided to just apply right away. Like right there, I'm in bed, like applying. And then I start telling people like, oh, I'm going to try this. And like everyone's reaction was like, what?
Yeah, it's wild.
Are you crazy? I thought, oh, how hard could it be? So when I did the 15 minutes, I was like switching my grip. I was like stopping like a little bit. Like I was kind of changing up like the tempo. This was different. I had to keep the same grip, alternating without stopping from shoulder to hip. So I go to the gym and I try it out for the first time, and I think I could do like 2 minutes. So suddenly I was not feeling as confident anymore. I was like, oh my God, like what did I do kind of thing. But like in my head, I was like, I can't turn back now. I already told people about this. I kind of looked into it a little bit more, and I realized the rope I was using was a little bit longer and heavier than the one I actually had to use. So I live in Georgetown, so there's a little gym there, and I thought, let me go see what their rope looks like. So I go there, and it's a really old, like beat down battle rope, but it's the one that I like, kind of the size that I would need for the record. I was going to order one, but I hadn't yet. So I just wanted to find somewhere I could practice at least for a little bit. And, so I would do all my practice sets there. Within my first like longer set, I quickly started to realize I needed to work on my grip strength, my bicep, and my lat strength. That's where I was kind of lacking strength wise. But endurance, I was pretty good. I realized it would be just a matter of practicing, getting my endurance up. I applied for the record late April. And I just slowly, every time I went, I would have a number in my head. Today, I'm going to do 90 minutes. Today, I'm going to do this many minutes. And I slowly built up from like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. I would say like in those couple months, I did about 10 practice sets. And every time I went in with such a good mindset. I was like, how's it going to feel when I do this? Like, I know I'm going to do this. I would put on a good playlist. I would just go for it. One thing I found a little bit funny though was like I didn't really tell that many people that I was doing this, so no one really at my gym knew I was doing this. And the little gym that I was training at, the battle ropes at the time were at the front of the gym, so I would get many weird looks because you get into the gym and you just see this lady
Still there.
battle roping, and then you get into your mid workout and she's just going still, and then you leave and she's still going. Like I definitely got a lot of weird looks, and in any other context, why would anyone want to do that? It doesn't make sense.
It's almost like you felt you needed to wear a sign saying,
Yeah.
by the way, I'm just training for this.
No, it was a little embarrassing, I have to say. And it's such a small gym that like people are definitely noticing you for sure. So yeah, that was a little bit embarrassing, but also kind of cool at the same time. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And so when I was ready to do the record, like as soon as I hit 90 minutes, like unofficially, I booked the date, September 21st, 2024. You need a lot of stuff. It's like Guinness, like real deal. They like have a lot of requirements. You have to film it in full. You have to have a timer in frame. I mean, I'm not good with technology, so I needed a lot of helpers with this. Even my kids were there that day, like helping with the timer. Like a lot of my clients were my witnesses. I had a couple of my coworkers, because you need a fitness professional there as well. So I had to gather like 8 people, like timekeepers, witnesses, everyone. I always say my fiance was like my like world record like manager, because he was like just kind of making sure everyone was doing what they needed to do. And yeah, it was really fun. I have to say though, that day, my mind, I don't know why, I think just the pressure that everybody was coming out for me, giving me their Saturday, it wasn't the best mindset. But the minute that I hit the like 90 minutes I had to hit, from there I was great. I was good. I was feeling great. I was excited. And my goal was 2 hours. I felt pretty good at 2 hours. I feel like I could have went longer, but we started late and I didn't want to keep everyone. And it was funny because like I was going to stop at 2 hours and my son goes, do 5 more minutes. I was like, okay. So that's why it's 2 hours and 5 minutes. And it was just really cool. Like I remember the first time I went to my oldest son and I said, hey, I think I'm going to do this thing on the battle ropes. Like, what do you think? And he was like, you're nuts.
Yeah.
Like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
So to have him there that day, be able to like see, I trained for this, I worked really hard for this, I did it. I mean, he's seen me do that before, but it was just cool to have something super tangible that he was like watching me do. So that was really fun.
Awesome. So you said you're trying to find more balance now.
Yeah.
So that's obviously a hard word for high achievers.
Yes.
So what does balance even mean to you at this point?
For me, it's like, I feel like when you work in the fitness industry, especially as a trainer, like you need very understanding people around you. Like you need your partner has to be so understanding and supportive. I mean, how many nights I said, hey, I'm off early tonight. I'll be home at 8 and I get home at 10. That happens all the time, even now. So it can be really tough. And like, honestly, when my kids were young, working evenings, people come to me and ask me, hey, I have kids. Do you think I should be a trainer? And I always stretch to them, you just need to be careful about your scheduling and stuff, because it can be tough, because your busy time is their free time and your free time is their busy time.
Sure.
So it can be really challenging. So like I had to sacrifice a lot of time, right, to build everything and do everything. Sometimes it's tough finding that balance. So I think now I've kind of gotten a little more comfortable with saying no. Like I used to always have Saturdays off and just Saturdays strictly, and I would work really late Fridays and I would work really early Sundays. And now I take Friday nights off. I'm just like not afraid to say no. It's like before the money and the goal of like buying a house would really motivate me. And now I feel like having more time with my kids, having more time with my fiance. In last year, I started investing as well. So like thinking about making money in other ways, not just like with your time.
Yeah.
That's been a huge change for me as well. Realizing how much that can have an impact on my income.
100%.
That was like a huge turning point for me as well, because I realized I don't just have to sell my time. I can do other things. There's other avenues as well.
Smart. Awesome. What are some of the things that you are investing in?
I'm a really like safe investor. I'm not like one of those like, and you know what's so fun about being a trainer is that when I first started to like learn about investing, like first thing I did was I opened a GIC, because I thought, okay, I don't know anything about investing. So let me go ahead and like do this for now.
Yeah.
It'll give me some time to like learn more, get more into it. Cause I feel like that's how every person feels. And a lot of my clients too, when they like kind of heard like I was like getting more into it, they would say like, what do you think? What should I do? And I think my advice would be is like, don't wait, just start. Like I almost wish that I didn't do the GIC, would have just went right into investing. But it's okay. Like you got to learn, right? You want to feel comfortable. Like I worked super hard for the money. So I was a little bit like scared to like kind of take that step. But I just took a little time to research, learn. And like the cool thing about being a trainer is you have all different people from all walks of life. A lot of them with a lot more like experience and history than you in like earning money, investing. So it was fun just being able to ask people their experiences. Like, what are things you wish you knew? What are things that you're glad you did? And so that was like actually where I learned the most. I did read some books, I did watch YouTube, things like that. But I actually learned the most do's and don't do's from clients actually. And so I'm a very safe investor, mostly like ETFs and things like that. But yeah, it's been really good. I got in at a really good time, like last March when things were like really down. That's when I like got in. So it was a good year for me.
Yeah. And I always say to people, like really respect your clients, because what you have to realize is that they're obviously successful enough at whatever they do to afford you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Absolutely.
A lot of trainers can't even afford personal training. So these are great people to access. These are great people to
100%.
learn from and build relationships with.
Absolutely.
And so that kind of made me think of some of the things I tend to tell other coaches. I'm like, you need to show some respect to the people that are paying you, because that money doesn't come from nowhere.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
probably pretty good at what they do. They have a lot to teach you, and vice versa, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So one of the questions I have is, if there's someone that's watching this right now and they feel kind of stuck, not just like physically, but
Yeah.
overall stuck in life, what's the actual first step? Not like any motivational quote. Like, I want like a real answer. What would
Yeah.
be one thing you would tell that person?
I think in general, and this can apply to anybody, no matter how they feel stuck, why they feel stuck, what they're going through. I think it'll sound a little bit cliche coming from a trainer, but like, start exercising. Like, it's something that is so simple that you can do, and you can do it in any like way that you feel like comfortable. But exercising teaches you so many things that you can take and apply to everyday life as well, and other areas of your life that you want to get better. It taught me so much about like being disciplined, doing things that are hard, doing things that you don't want to do when you don't feel like doing it. Um, it really is, I think, one of the key things that going through my weight loss journey helped me getting through all these other things, is like just that delayed gratification. And it's like, sure, everything in me is telling me not to do this right now. I don't feel good. I'm depressed, or, I'm going through some things, or it's hard. But just get up and like move your body and be consistent. And I've seen it with so many people. Like, it can totally transform their attitude, the way they feel about themselves. It gives you something where you feel like, everything else maybe is going not well, but this is the one thing I actually have control over, that I can do to make my situation better, no matter what that situation is. And for me, I mean, my life was not going great when I got started. And for a long time, it took a long time for it to come back up. And that was something that I had. And I always tell people that too now. I always say, like, if instead of looking at coming to the gym as like another chore on your list, look at it as like your outlet. Like, you can come here, you can do something positive for yourself, you can work on yourself. And every single client, I've never had a client that said, I walked out of here feeling worse. Every single one says, yeah, sometimes getting in here is hard, but I always walk out feeling like 10 times better.
Big time. And we definitely have a big impact on them. A
Yeah.
lot more than a lot of people, I think, realize.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
that's one of the reasons why I always tell people that it's important that people train frequently enough, because exposure matters.
Yeah.
And the more exposure they have to something like us,
Yeah.
where we are influencing them in a very positive way,
100%.
helping create an effect within their body and their mind that bleeds into the rest of their day, having them
100%.
happier, more energy, more balanced, more present. That's really, really powerful.
Yeah. And it makes you feel good about yourself, because it's like, think about how many people that work out on a consistent basis. It's like not enough, for sure. And so knowing that, I said I was going to do this and I stuck with it, and you can apply that to other parts of your life as well. Because I know so many people, like I hear people all the time, especially young people, because I feel like for people my age and younger, it's kind of tough right now. Like, there's a lot of negativity going on. There's a lot of bad things going on.
What do you mean?
It's just tough. Like, they've been through a lot,
Yeah,
and
of
I feel
course.
like when I talk to my younger client, I mean, when I talk to anyone, to be honest, it's just like a tough time. And I think it's so easy to be like, oh, woe is me. Life is hard. Things are hard for me. And they might be, they probably are, but there's a lot you can proactively do to get your mind in a better place, to get yourself physically in a better place.
Yeah.
And almost always that's going to make you feel better.
100%. And I always say that, like, challenging yourself and then overcoming said challenge is probably the fastest way to build confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you start to build confidence in yourself, you start to become more willing to take on greater challenges.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that is really, in my opinion, one of the main ways to move forward in any aspect of your life.
100%.
Yes.
That's huge. I feel like that's like a huge part of like my journey too. Like, if someone told me that I was going to do all this stuff, I would have been like, even when I first started, my initial goal was to lose 80 pounds. And I remember saying, like, who loses 80 pounds? That's insane,
Yeah.
right? I was never like this thing of like, I'm going to like do so much and I'm going to achieve all these things. It was literally as simple as like, I feel really terrible right now. And I feel not only am I not moving forward, but I'm sliding back and I'm scared and I physically don't feel well and I mentally don't feel well and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So surely this can't make me feel worse. Like, let's just go for it. So I feel like that really is something that is so simple that anybody can do that
Yeah.
can like be that baby step forward.
I agree. So what's the one thing you wish you knew, you know, or what is the one thing that you wish someone told you at 20 years old that they didn't?
I think, going back to like all the doubters, I was really good at still staying focused and still staying on track. But to say that it didn't bother me would be a lie. It really bothered me. So I wish, like, I feel like I always knew that I was going to get here eventually. But I think it's hard when like everyone, even the closest people to you who love and care about you, also are kind of like, doubting you a little bit. And sometimes even like, hey, like you're doing too much, or like, because like I said, like no one in my family was kind of about the like eating healthy, working out, losing weight, or just like being like extremely successful in general at anything. Right. So it was tough sometimes, like feeling like I always said, even when I was a kid, I kind of felt like the alien of the family, like I was just like always felt a little bit different. And so when you have those people around you, whether they're close to you or not, like kind of, like, oh, like, I don't know if this is the way, I don't know, like if what you're doing is right. It bothered me. It really did bother me. So I wish that someone back then could have reassured me, that you're doing the right thing. Like, just keep going, ignore them completely. And I think I did a pretty good job at just saying, like, I know that this is going to get me where I need to be. And I know I'm doing the best thing for me and my kids, which was the biggest motivator. And I think ultimately, if someone would have told me, like, what you want, which no matter how I was going to get there, I just wanted like a stable environment for my kids, just like a home where they could just be kids and like have fun. And like, if someone would have just told me you're going to get there, like, just ignore everyone else, forget about that, they'll come around because they do. I feel like once you're successful, everyone goes, wow, I always knew it. I always knew you were going to be like this.
Of course.
So I feel like, yeah, I wish like I had someone to kind of reassure me, because back then I really was like on my own. So if I would have had someone to say like, no, you're doing great, keep going, that would have been nice. But I mean, I got here anyways.
Yeah, 100%. It's almost like the future you reassured you.
Yeah,
right?
no, I think about it all the time. I mean, like you said, like sometimes it's hard because I feel like it's not like all the time I'm like, wow, I've done all these great things. It's actually the opposite. I tend to be like really understanding and, like empathetic with my clients, but I'm always like really, really hard on myself. And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
So even after everything, I feel like I have moments where I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Like, think about when I just wanted to work full time. And now, like, here we are. Like, think about when, like, having a house honestly felt like that was never, ever going to happen. And now I have a house. Like,
100%.
it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, if I had someone to just like reassure me, like, you're on the right track, you're doing the right thing. It's not going to be one perfect, straight line to success. There's going to be ups and downs, but like, keep going. That it would have been nice, but we're here anyways.
Yeah, honestly, I think this has been a great chat. I've learned a lot about you, and I think the viewers will have learned a lot about you as well. And it was very real. I think there's a lot of relatability with your story, and there's going to be a lot of important lessons for people to pick up on that are going to hopefully create like that moment or that spark of at least thinking, what should I start working on? What can I change realistically? And like you said, you don't need to start with the end goal or the moonshot goal. Break it down into the smallest goal that you think is reasonable at the time and just hit it and knock it
Absolutely.
out the park. So I've loved hearing your story. It was really, really impactful. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you
No
so much for
problem.
coming on the podcast and being my first guest.
No problem.
Amazing.
Thanks
Awesome.
so much.
Awesome.